Assalamu Alaikum everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So I've decided to do a bit of a traveling in the last 15 days, and that's when the stock market has decided. Of course, there's earnings reports, there's all sorts of things happened. A lot of the companies that I own are down so much. So a lot has happened while I've been traveling. So what I want to do between now and the end of the weekend is to send you your way as many videos as I possibly can, looking at some of the companies that have either reported the earnings and so on. Now if we look at the earnings reports, the companies that have reported already that we own is UPS. Great, basically horrible day for them. We will look at that in another next video just to see what genuinely happened to the company and if I'm going to hold on to this one or not, because as you know, I was already down quite a bit. So and now it has come down quite a bit. So I will share exactly what I'm doing with it. Tesla has reported, Alphabet has reported. We're not really interested in these companies, but of course, because when these companies go down, they drag the entire market down with them. But Visa is one of the companies that have reported, and it was down, I think, about 3-4% yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see. Texas Instruments is another company that I'm interested in, so we'll also maybe look at that as well in the next couple of days. And then we have in all the companies that I own, we've got AstraZeneca that are basically reporting Thursday after before the market opens. Basically they are reporting this morning, so we will see what happens with them. And then of course just keep an eye on 3M and other companies as well. We just have a look around. Colgate is another company. If Colgate goes down and I don't know 4 or 5%, it drags down of course Procter & Gamble and so on. So we need to look at that as well. But the one company I want to really talk about today is Visa. Visa has reported, and as soon as it reported, it was down almost 4%. Oh, by the way, ServiceNow as well is a company that I'm interested in, so we will look at that as well. Visa reported and the earnings report was not great. So we want to see exactly what's happened. But before I do that, let's go back and have a look at what is happening here. The fee and greed is actually now coming back down to fee. And this is interesting because this is where we buy stocks. This is around here. And as you know, the stock market has been up year to date. Basically, the S&P 500 is up 14%. The Dow Jones is about 6%. The Nasdaq about 15%. And the FTSE is about 5.6%. So year to date, we're still up, which is quite nice to see. For the last 6 months, okay, as you can see, these companies have done, these indices have done absolutely amazing. So 11%, 5%, 8%, almost 9% here, another 8%, which is really good for the FTSE 100. Now for the 1 year, okay, 18%, 12%, 22%, 6%. But now this is where it gets interesting. For the 1 month, on the other hand, we're now flat. The S&P 500, the Dow Jones is up about 2%, the Nasdaq is down about 3%, and the FTSE is actually down about 1%. But last 5 days is where things have become really crazy, and the S&P 500 is down 3%, the Dow Jones is about 3%, Nasdaq 4%, and FTSE is almost flat. So we are now, yesterday, this is exactly what happened in the stock market yesterday. So, and that is Wednesday, right? The companies that have reported, like Tesla, for example, was down about 12%. The Google was down about, or Alphabet was down about 5%. But everything else was also down with it. Look at this: 7%, 6%, 6%, 6% almost. 2%. Again, CrowdStrike down about 4% and so on. I've got a video coming up for CrowdStrike and a couple of other cybersecurity companies, so stay tuned for that. But the one that we're interested in is this one here, Visa, down 4%. And when we look at for the 1 week, as you can see, we're still in the red. Visa actually, in fact, down about 7% almost. When we look at it for the 1 month, okay, yes, there are a couple of reds, but CrowdStrike down about 32%. Like I said, I've done a video for this company. I will be releasing that next couple of days. But Visa again down about 8%. So Visa is not having a great month. In fact, for the last 3 months, it's down 7%, whereas the rest of the companies has actually gone up a lot. Tesla's up about 50%. The fact that it was down 12% yesterday, don't pay too much attention to that because it was up a lot in the beginning. So this is, the reason. So if I now click year to date, for example, performance, you'll see some of the companies are up by 130%. So we need to see some sort of a correction, and it might happen. in the next few weeks, in my next couple of months, because of the uncertainty with the elections and everything else. That could easily happen between now and November the 5th when the elections, US elections happen. So we will see exactly what happens with that. But what we're interested in is this company today, Visa. Visa is one of the companies that I have had in my portfolio for a very long time. They are a Sharia compliant company. They do not sell. They do facilitate for the transactions. They are a technology company. They facilitate for the transactions. They do not actually just get money from that transaction. So they're not charging the consumer extra money for them to use their cards. That's not what they're doing. Okay, so they facilitate for the transactions. They own the technology behind it. So as you can see here, it was down 4% just yesterday, and they have reported, and I want to go through some of these things now. When it comes to EPS, they were actually in line with what was expected. So every single quarter, the analysts say, okay, this is what we expect from Visa. And if they miss that, of course, the stock goes down. And if they beat it, it goes up. That sort of a thing, okay? So it was in line basically what the analysts were expected. The Wall Street people that do analysis of these companies said we expected $4.42, and that's what they got. When it comes to revenue, it was actually up almost 10% year over year. Okay, so this time last year, if you compare it with this time last year, it was up almost 10%. But when it comes to this quarter, they actually missed, based on what the analysts were expecting, they missed about 20 million. You would think that's not a really big deal for a huge company like this. And of course, this is Q3. So we still have one more to go. So potentially they might still hit their target. Now, let me show you the numbers. Let me show you what these numbers look like. Okay, so let's have a look at the first part here. Okay, this is the segment revenue. So these are the three sections that the company reports, or segments if you like. Service revenue quarter over quarter was down about 1.6%, but year over year about 8%. Data processing revenue side of things, it was up quarter over quarter and year over year. When it comes to international transactions, it was up about 7% quarter over quarter and year over year about 9.4%. So nothing to worry about. It was the service part that was down just tiny bit. Okay. Now, a couple of more things. With the credit card side of things, it was absolutely fine. With the debit side of things, it was absolutely fine. Payment volume, it was absolutely fine, 7% in constant dollars year over year. And the cross-border was also up 14%. So nothing to worry about. What I'm doing is that you're comparing this with the last quarter. Last quarter, for example, this one was down at least almost a 5%. Okay, for the credit card. Same goes for the debit cards, was down about 0.5%. Okay, and 8%, but 7% now. It's slightly down from where it was basically last year. Cross-border volume total was also about 14%. Last time it was about 16%. Now, the other thing I want to show you is, so basically this is what the company has been reporting. Okay, and this is probably one of the reasons why the stock was down quite a bit if you think about it. Okay, so cross-border volume, it was actually slightly lower than what it used to be. Okay, but that could be the fact that maybe the people are not actually buying as much product as they used to buy online and things like that, or using the cars. Whatever reason is, basically these are external factors that the company cannot control as we speak. And for me, that's not a worry at all, because what I'm interested is the business side of things moving forward. So if I click earnings, for example, and look at the estimates moving forward, okay, we're not looking at quarterly, okay, I'm looking at yearly. So 13% growth in terms of EPS, okay, year over year of 13% growth, which is really good. 11%, again, double digits for the next 3 years at least. So this year and the next couple of years. Same goes for revenue side of things. Okay, so double digits here with one of the best companies out there. And when I say the best, let me show you what I mean. Okay, I'm not being biased because I own this stock, but check this out. This is the total revenue. Okay, so this is the revenue since 2014. So $12.7 billion to right now $34 $13.9 billion. Now, this is how much they made every single year, right? For the last whatever years. Now, check this one out here. Cost of revenue. So this is how much they're spending in order to make this much money. Look at this. This is in the millions. And they taking home, so not yet, but I'll show you the net income in a second. But the gross profit of $34.1 billion of 34.9 billion revenue, which is absolutely ridiculously good. Like, this is, most companies, they would have spent, okay, minimum 30 to, I don't know, 25 to 30 billion of that money, okay, to make that money. And they will have net income, so gross profit, or maybe about 7 to 10 billion dollars, and net income about 4 or 5 billion dollars. Now let me show you the net income then. So we've now paid, this is how much we made. So this is where the gross profit is. We paid for some taxes and all sorts of things. We go into the net income here of $19 billion of that 34 that we've seen here. Okay, $19 billion of that becomes a net income. That's why this company has an excellent growing free cash flow every single year. I think they do have quite a bit of free cash flow. So now let's look at the rest of the financials for this company. As we know, it's currently trading $254 per share. EPS is about $8 and 508 billion market cap. It has a wide economic moat. Is one of the best companies out there when it comes. So it has a basically when it comes to the share in that market, there's just them and MasterCard. All the other companies, of course, you know, you got American Express and so on, but they're not as good as these companies, right? Beta is quite low, which is quite nice. PE, when you compare it to the last 5 years, okay, the 5-year average, I've never seen this company trade below 30 over the last 5-6 years. So forward PE about 26, which is quite nice, and the free cash flow, price to free cash flow right now is about 26. Now they do pay some dividends, okay, and that dividend is definitely safe. Nothing to worry about when it comes to the safety side of that dividend. When it comes to, so latest increase was basically 16%, and for the 5-year growth rate of 16%, 15 years of increase in it, 99% safety, free cash flow of $20 billion, which is absolutely huge. And the reason they have that much money is because you've seen the net income, free cash flow yield of 3.8%, which is really good, and free cash flow margin of 55%. This is a cash machine, okay? Profit margin, amazing. Operating margin is great. Return on equity is wonderful. Return on invested capital, this is what you want to see. Total return the last 10 years, 17%. This is annualized compound annual growth rate for every single year you own this company. You're making about 16-17%. Revenue compound annual growth rate the last 5 years, you're looking about almost 10%, and the EPS about 12%. They have a current ratio is above 1, which means they have enough assets for the next 12 months. They're expecting double-digit growth for the next year and the 3-5 years that follow up. So fairly value right now, $272 per share is what Morningstar is saying. When it comes to simply Wall Street, they're actually saying 255. That is just around where it is now. And the total price for target price for the next 12 months when it comes to tip rank is 315. That's 24% upside from where we are, and they're saying it's a strong buy. It's more or less the same thing when it comes to seeking alpha, but they are saying it's just a buy. When it comes to Sharia compliance side of things, absolutely nothing to worry about, and they are buying back their own shares, which is absolutely huge for a company like this. So you're getting dividend. They're actually basically buying back their own shares, and you're making about 12%, 13% every single year for your basically for your money, which is really wonderful to see. So I don't understand why it was basically people were selling it like yesterday about 4%. Today's up a tiny bit just before the market opens. So just the moral of the story is, to be honest with you, I'm definitely not selling this company. I would absolutely love to buy more of if it comes back down. So my average right now as we speak is basically $221 per share. Let's call it $222 per share, or 170 pounds. Okay, right now it's 250ish. Okay, I will definitely be buying more if it goes below 240. So I like the company. Is one of my best holdings that I've had for quite some time. 15-16% up despite the drop in the last few weeks. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. Inshallah, I'll buy more if it keeps going back down. So yeah, will be interesting to see what happens moving forward, but really great company, nothing to worry about. And of course, sometimes you just have to take with a pinch of salt what these people are saying, because we know the numbers look good and basically things are basically heading in the right direction. So I wouldn't worry about anything when it comes to Visa. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this type of content. I've got a few more videos in the next 24 hours or so, so stay tuned for that. If you like this type of content, please join us the Patreon account. It genuinely helps. Okay, it takes a lot of time and effort to put these videos together. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu Alaikum.